This episode contains descriptions of gun violence. Listener discretion is advised.
It's kind of difficult because like if I was never there the night I requested, none of this would have happened.
Christian Kimbrough grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, and was your typical good kid. He got all A's, was on the dance team, and was popular with his classmates. He had been best friends with CJ since second grade, and the two were inseparable.
We had similar interests. We'd like to go over each other's house back and forth. So that just became my best friend. We shared the same mindsets. We shared the same ideas at, what you can do in the second grade.
Yeah, I was going to say 8-year-olds having like mindsets.
Right. During
Christmas break in 2005, 13-year-old Christian had been staying at CJ's house.
Doing what 13-year-old boys do, jumping on the trampoline, on the game system at the Xbox, just really nothing out of the ordinary.
Christian was supposed to go home on the 18th, but
I had to ask my mom for one more night. Obviously, it's the week before Christmas, and my mom wants me home, and I was like, please, please, please. And, I got the okay from her.
CJ's family also had another guest, Blake, who was about 18 years old.
I think he was a family friend of theirs. And so he was bouncing around from house to house, and, he was living in the attic at the time. That's how I met him. We didn't have any bad words with each other. We always spoke when we saw each other, laughed at a couple of his jokes. I thought things were good.
The night of December 18th, CJ's mom took the younger boys to see a movie, Aeon Flux, and then to IHOP.
I had the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity with a side of cheese eggs.
When they got back, Blake was standing in the driveway, waiting.
It's December, so, it's very, very cold. And he's kind of like disgruntled or annoyed because he couldn't get in the house because he didn't have a key, and there was nobody to let him in. Open the door, walk up the stairs. All of the bedrooms are on the second floor. This is a pretty big house, except the guy is in the attic.
Christian started changing for bed in CJ's room. CJ had to run downstairs to get some toilet paper for his mom, who was in the bathroom.
Blake comes in the room from the attic with a gun.
This is Live to Tell, the podcast where I talk to some of the bravest people who have been through the most horrifying things and lived to tell the tale. I'm Caitlin Van Mall.
And so he pointed at me, and I stood up, and he's probably not even less than 3 yards away from me. And he says, it's 2 blanks in the gun and 2 real bullets in the gun. Now I'm standing up with my hands up, and I'm saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's in my mind, I'm like, what's going to happen? And he fires it. And instantly my eyes closed, and it felt like King Kong just struck me in the head.
Christian had been shot in the head on his left side, shattering his skull.
And so as I'm able to, open my eyes, have you seen Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone series where he's like...
Christian is doing the Home Alone aftershave scream face. Blake is making that face. And so it was almost like Blake was surprised that he shot.
Because
and also why?
Exactly. I don't know you well enough. I haven't, said anything mean towards you, or, I haven't even had 5 minutes, with you. So I'm just like, what, why me? So when Blake is making that face, only thing I know to do is try to, because my head is ringing and I'm not sure why. So I'm naturally right-handed. And so I go to move my right arm and hand and I couldn't. So I take my left hand and put it up to my, where the pain is excruciating. And I saw, puddles of blood, and I'm making a puddle on the floor. And Blake runs out. Oh my God, come quick, oh my God.
Blake started screaming that Christian had shot himself. CJ and his mom rushed into the room
and tried to pull me down on the bed, and call 911. But my adrenaline is going so much, they had to forcefully hold me down. And as the EMTs got there, as they were rolling me out, and I just remember how cold it was, the way I felt, and just why is this happening to me? I just black out.
Christian fell into a coma.
To be in a coma was like a big dream. A lot of open plains, valleys and everything like that, is looking like a Microsoft Office desktop. And I saw my grandmother, and she had just been a victim of murder-suicide. Thanksgiving 2004, she was a victim to murder-suicide, and then in December 2005, I was shot. I just remember her saying that, baby, you can't stay here, you gotta go. Not really talking to me, but just, I could see her presence, I could see her movements and stuff like that. But that was the one thing that actually, that stuck with me. She's like, baby, you gotta go. And then I wake up 7 days later on Christmas Day.
Yeah. What was it like waking up?
Not ideal for everybody that was around me. I woke up, but I was wondering why I was there, because I couldn't put two and two together. I couldn't imagine me getting shot. I couldn't imagine, because I had did all the right things that I was told to do. I wasn't in a gang. I made straight A's, and gangs are really prevalent at that time, especially where I'm from. And so I was just wondering, why did that happen to me? Why am I going through all of this? I couldn't get a grasp of it. I would just wake up, couldn't talk, but want to scream at everybody. I had to get restrained. They put little hospital restraints on my bed. They put me in a straitjacket a couple of times. Yeah, because I was the person that didn't like to sleep. And so after they injected me with some medicine that was supposed to help me sleep, it backfired severely. And, I was up for 48 hours, so yeah, that was a crazy series of events when I woke up, because I was ripping off my catheter, trying to go to the bathroom by myself. I was very, very, very strong-willed, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't do any of that. I was just okay, whatever. I'm gonna try to do everything by myself, because I cannot be viewed as not normal.
Christian had to relearn how to walk, talk, swallow, and a bunch of other physical things that used to come naturally. But a traumatic brain injury like this also came with cognitive problems as well.
Yeah, that was a very frustrating part about recovery, because I thought the teachers or anybody that would actually come across me and try to teach me something, I thought they were playing with my intelligence. and she didn't mean anything by it, but it would be a teacher we would go to for a short period of time in the hospital. She would just hold up shapes. She would hold up colors. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? It's like, why are you doing that? But I couldn't talk. I could talk, but it came out mumbled in a way. But, me figuring, oh, I know everything. Say if it's, for example, if it's a red circle and I'm saying a blue circle, I know exactly what that thing is and I'm trying to say, but it doesn't come out like that. And so I would just become frustrated beyond belief.
Adding to this frustration was the fact that Christian had to be fed through a feeding tube. What is getting fed through a tube like?
Not pleasant at all.
Yeah, I mean, you must be able to breathe while it happens, but also...
Yeah, I'm able to breathe, but they put a tube up through your nose and then you could pull it out. I was the king of pulling out the tube through my nose, and it would hurt all the way. And I'm like, okay, man, I'm serious. I couldn't talk, but I'm like, okay, I'm serious. I want some food.
Yeah.
I want some real food. So because I lost, I was already frail when I went in there, but I got extremely thin when they was feeding me through a tube. So I lost pounds there, but I just had to take a chew test, and they said I passed with flying colors. So that was good.
Even with this triumph of being able to eat real food, Christian had a long recovery in front of him. This could have seemed insurmountable for any 13-year-old, but Christian was motivated.
It's a funny story that what kicked it off, my recovery journey. My mom was, she had rolled me to the ledge where I could see downtown Little Rock, Arkansas. And my mom was just saying that she was like, okay, son, are you ready? You ready to give it your all? You ready? Because I want to go home. I know you want to go home. And it just clicked. I was like, okay, I'm about to go crazy in the CEO because I know I have to do it for her. The triumphs for me were I had to learn how to button up my buttons, zip up my zipper. And so I was buttoning buttons and stuff in no time. And so, but when you're looking at me, you're like, oh no, man, you're not ready to go anywhere. So I'm trying to push everything. I'm trying to lift everything. I'm trying to go to the bathroom on my own. I'm just trying to do everything because I want to get out of this hospital and I want to get out of this hospital fast. And from a gunshot to the head, I made it out in record time.
Christian had been shot in the head in such a way that he lost a lot of his skull. The plan was to cover the area with a plate, but they couldn't do that right away. So Christian had to live with a hole in his skull for 6 months.
When I woke up in the morning, it was bulging out of my head. So,
your brain.
And I wish I could have a picture. Yeah. My brain was bulging out of my skull, right?
Just a curiosity question.
Mm-hmm.
But did you try to poke your brain?
Oh yeah, many times.
What did that feel like?
Soft because I still had the skin on it. Right. I still have my hair on it and everything like that.
I would poke my brain too. All that stood between Christian's brain and the open air was skin. So if Christian left the house, he needed to wear a helmet. So in those 6 months that you're waiting, were you allowed out into the world?
Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, my mom tried her best. I would fight her, because me being 13, I would, try to, ride in the car without the helmet. And I'm like, no, that's not cool. And she would always say, hey, what if I get into an accident? Hey, what if I this, or what if I have to make a sharp turn? Or it was like weeks and weeks of fighting, but she eventually got her way.
Christian was homeschooled for the rest of that school year. He was allowed a few times to visit his friends at his middle school. Wearing the helmet in the car for safety was one thing, but he refused to wear it in front of his friends. His mom reluctantly agreed, but was going to lay down the law about how to act around her son while he still had a hole in his skull.
She was like, okay, you don't want to wear a helmet? Okay, I got to, make it known that you can't have any horseplay. She wasn't going for any of that. She's only 5'2", but she was standing. She was like, hey, do not touch his head or come around his head or anything like that.
Like, this is obviously pre-COVID, but let's do COVID rules that you stay 6 feet away from my kid.
Right. She was like, yeah, I will let you go see your friends occasionally. That was fun. Just being normal somewhat.
This period of extra caution lasted 6 months until he could have a plate implanted to cover the hole.
They had to actually get everything correct. They had to actually mold it because they had to
make the plate.
They had to actually make the plate.
How does one get fitted for a skull?
Right. They actually took the x-rays, and I guess, Dr. Adala, who was my doctor, I still praise him to this day. He was actually responsible for just detailing it as best as he could. Well, played a major part in just recreating what you see now.
While Christian was still in the hospital immediately after the attack, investigators were waiting for him to be able to talk again so he could tell them what happened. Blake had said Christian shot himself, so they needed to get Christian's side of the story.
My mom was fighting off detectives like crazy. They kept asking her questions. It was rumors that, I was playing with the gun. I shot myself. Why would I do something like that? Meanwhile, I'm not responsible for anything except, being the victim. I eventually, just said what happened, where I was, how it transpired, and, who was the culprit. So.
Did Blake get arrested?
No, he did not get arrested for shooting me.
Do you know why he wasn't arrested for what he did to you?
No.
Is that frustrating?
At one point in time, I would say yes. But I kind of got over it. Getting shot at 13, going through puberty, and just wanted to be with with your friends, with your comrades or what have you, and just rushing to become normal. That's what I actually wanted. So what the case was, what everything was, it's just, I just brushed it off. But I guess karma, worked itself out, because I looked up his name like a year or so ago, and he was wanted for murder in Phoenix, Arizona.
In 2021, Blake Porter was arrested for lethally shooting Ricky Garza, who lived in the same apartment complex as Blake. Blake is now in prison until 2033.
That, karma came back tenfold. So rest in peace to the person he, killed, and let the Lord be with his family.
Christian has put so much effort into going back to normal. But that doesn't mean he's completely fine with having to put that effort in the first place. You talked a lot about, why did this happen to me? But were you I think I would just be really angry.
Oh, I'm still kind of angry, but it's not like, I don't want to say, I don't know. I'm trying to become a better person. all these years because I recognize it myself, and I'll be an idiot not to. But I'm trying to become a better person, trying to think positive on most things, and not be so angry because the symptoms of TBI,
Traumatic brain injury.
you're not that great of a friend. You don't allow people to get that close to you. Becoming friends is kind of hard for me. Everybody doesn't have your best interests and things, and so I always keep that in the back of my mind. It's like, and that's why it's so hard for me to actually extend that grace and extend that friendship. But as I said, work in progress.
Did you ever see a counselor at any point?
No, I didn't speak to anybody until I was 29 years old. So I talked with him, my therapist, but he was just like, you're just now coming to see me. You're just now coming in, you should have been in here. Like, I'm glad you're here now, but we see I haven't been a couple of years. So
What made you go the first time?
just wanted, I was depressed. I was depressed out of this world. I thought the worst, just the way my life was. I have a whole lot to be grateful for, but I couldn't see it at the time. To be honest with you, I was struggling beyond control, and just was like, hey, I'm just gonna, try to talk to somebody about it and get a different perspective. It didn't change too much, but it's needed. It's needed to have somebody to talk to. So
Yeah, I also have depression, so
yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Of even you can be grateful for everything you have, and you're like, why am I so sad when I have so much?
Yeah.
And people that left me.
It's hard. I mean, it's very difficult when you're surrounded by people that love you, people that want to see you good, but inside you're not good with yourself. Because I felt like I was falling behind in some. I was comparing myself a lot to just other people and not really receiving the things that I wanted. And then I was 29, so I'm like, man, when I turned 30, if I could have kept going with this, I would have been here by now. If I would have just kept speaking about it in public settings, I would have been this far by now. So it was a lot of that, and I just got depressed beyond belief. So I'm with you. I have depression too. So it's just like I don't want to say I have depression. Don't want to say I have depression. I've been depressed, but I don't want to say I have depression as an ongoing thing, because if I dub myself saying that I have depression, the tongue is a powerful thing. So I don't want to say I have depression. I just want to say I've been depressed before, and that led me to seeing somebody about it. So
while he may not have been talking about the assault with a therapist, he was talking about it. Christian saw an opportunity to use his story in a positive way.
I tend to talk to middle school and high school kids, and because I've been in their shoes before, and they sometimes don't have it all together. Just my whole thing is, okay, I told you what happened to me. I told you how I overcame that. I'm being so very vulnerable with you, and I want you to tell your story now. It's your turn now. Whatever you're going through, whatever you have going on, just openly share that, and stop trying to think that you can hold it all in, because I need to be taking my own advice, but hopefully, I can be the person that actually gets people to actually open up and share theirs.
These talks led first to a t-shirt brand called Revive Minds that expanded into hats. Once Christian started public speaking, he decided to cut his hair short. He'd had long dreads before, but this exposed the scars he had on his head from the gunshot.
I got really self-conscious about it because I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this? I started wearing hats. I started wearing hats to cover it up, and my girlfriend was like, why don't you just sell those? And then I'm like, no, nobody will buy them. And so I just continued on with the t-shirts. She just took a few pictures of the hat, her wearing the hat, and everybody liked my story. Everybody could put two and two together why I sell these hats, because of my insecurities. And I always think that the hats were like my saving grace. They are like my safe haven, like my force field, or like a superhero. It just gives me some strength or whatever. It's just been, flying off the shelves ever since. ReviveMinds.com, RVMNDS.com as well. I love this journey that I'm on. A few setbacks. It's just I'm living proof that you can get over any obstacle that you're faced with. It doesn't have to be a gunshot. It doesn't have to be some as life changing. But everybody has a story to tell, and I just want to be the platform that they can be heard.
In your teens, you didn't want to be the kid that got shot in the head. You just wanted to be a kid.
Right.
But this brand leans into that story.
Right.
So can you kind of talk about like when that kind of switch flipped?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I didn't realize my fullest potential with the brand until I started to focus on hats and the reasoning behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that, it is my identity now. I can't change anything that happened to me. I can't, nor will I would want to change it.
Yeah. How do you feel about your scars today?
That's a touchy subject, because even though I preach, I can take the hat off. I still feel a slight bit of insecurity when I have my hat off. I'm the type that I get a haircut and I put the hat on right away. I can have a fully cut hair, It's just I made that a part of my brand identity and my identity myself. But I could learn to be more comfortable with my scars. I'm 31 years old. I'm still not actually comfortable with the scars and stuff like that. So I'm human. I haven't overcame it, but I don't feel as bad about my scars as I once did. And that's because I've started to look at it in a different way, and I have a product that, can really help me out. So
I'm sure you hear this all the time, but just give yourself, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I hear from my friends I'm a little too hard on myself. I have so many things to be grateful for. Like, I have my own day with the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. Revive Minds Day. And so, but I still feel like, okay, that's not enough. I still feel like I'm not doing enough. And I just constantly put that pressure on myself too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I do too. So yeah. I get that. But I also always am just like, you're doing great.
Yeah. I mean, we all gotta have those individual looks in the mirror and pep talks and words of affirmation and everything like that. Hey, like, you are doing great. You are who you say you are. And what I said before, like, the tongue is a powerful thing. So if you anoint yourself and speak highly of yourself, then mountains are going to move for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So just working on myself, working on my craft, and just trying to stay true to the race that I'm running.
This is Live to Tell. I'm Caitlin Van Mall. You can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Live to Tell Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps the show. I'll see you in 2 weeks.